Dear Diary, I am within half an hour away from a call with a lawyer, and shit's about to get real. And I'm actually a little like vibrating with nervousness, and I was like, well, how do I kill the next half hour, with my nervousness? And I was like, why don't I make a fucking diary about it? So I am launching a business. I have been building educational content courses with video modules. I have been dedicating almost all my energy for the last few months putting these videos and modules together. So I have got a website built. I have got two starter courses that I'm going to launch at the same time. I'm building up four other courses right now as well. Literally today, after I end this diary session and I have the lawyer call, after that's over, I will be sitting in the same position recording more educational content for this course. So I am steeped in this. And why today is so big for me is because I'm not a stranger to what it's like to incorporate a business. I actually did incorporate a business for Toronto Unicorn. I think it was about 2 years ago. And I had so many problems with it that I ended up dissolving the corporation without any revenue going through it. Like I was like, fuck that, get rid of it. It was just a headache. Because at the time I was making some money on my fan page, my OnlyFans page, right? And I was making money on YouTube and I had all this affiliate income coming in. And I was like, okay, I need to stop paying an insane amount of tax because I'm routing it through my personal account, right? And I'm paying a higher tax bracket. And so I decided to incorporate a business. Why wouldn't you, right? Route my perfectly legal fan page income through a Canadian bank, right? What's the fucking problem? So that's when I went literally in person and had appointments at, I don't know, 6 Canadian banks in Toronto where I sat in a room and explained to them my source of income and watched them get a little uncomfortable and then go consult someone and then let me know that there's this actual unwritten policy that they don't allow businesses with adult income, like adult services or adult, like a porn site income. And I was like, well, wait a second, it's legal. Apparently, it doesn't matter. Even if it's legal, it doesn't mean a bank has to give you an account with that as one of your revenue streams. And it was interesting because I said, well, can you produce the policy? Like, show me in writing where this is written. And apparently, it's an unwritten one, even though it's apparently written in some secret file. So you can't even like find out in advance what banks are going to shut you down. So what did I learn from this? I learned that I can never route my OnlyFans income through a corporation in this country, or because I won't have a bank who will do it. And so now, fast forward 2 years, I have learned some stuff. Okay, I have learned about the process of incorporating. I have learned whether you need federal or provincial incorporation. Do you want a numbered company? Do I want to brand Toronto Unicorn like Inc. or whatever? And it's like, actually, no, because the name Toronto Unicorn is associated with some adult topics, and I don't want any problems down the road because the name becomes synonymous with sex to turn me down for a business bank account. So the name Toronto Unicorn is not going to be anywhere near the name of my business legally, just so you know. See, things that I've learned along the way. But I was saying to my friend R at the time when I was going to all these banks, I remember saying I felt like it was the olden days and I was sitting in the room when they had a big red stamp that was like slut, slut, slut. Like that's what it felt like. And so I didn't want to experience that again. But this time, when I incorporate a business, I'm not going to even mention my OnlyFans because it's none of their business if that's my personal income. And instead, I'm going to route the income from my new educational online academy. It's called Level Up with Toronto Unicorn. I have a website and everything. I'm just not fully launched yet. And yeah, so I am now going to only be routing that, mainstream acceptable income through a business. So anything, the supply costs for video editing and things like that will be routed through the business instead of my personal. So yeah, these are great things, I think, because I'll pay a less of a tax rate on any income I do make. and I'll also be more protected from liability. So even though I'm very clear in my terms and conditions and terms of use for my courses, that I don't promise anything, and like you can't sue me if shit goes wrong. In case somebody does want to sue me, at least this way I'm going to be protected with that corporate veil, and my personal business, my personal income won't have anything to do with what happens. So I'm meeting with a lawyer in literally now 20 minutes, and it's only my first like consultation. So I'm about to find out if they're going to judgely harsh me. Like even when I called the law firm and I said like I need an appointment to do this as this, I also said I also talk about adult topics and like non-monogamy. So make sure that you guys are okay with that. Like, I said literally, like, I didn't say it in these words, but I was basically like, please don't waste my fucking time. If you're going to be offended or put your nose up in the air at me, then I'm going to find another lawyer who won't. Right. So I'm about to find out in 10, 15 minutes, does this lawyer have a problem with it? So wish me luck. Story of my life. I literally just a couple days ago had to drop off two brand new Toronto Unicorn designed sex positive skirts to the seamstress to get hemmed. This is lovely, lovely Chinese older woman who, every time I drop off something that's a little risque, I'm a little embarrassed. But this time, I had two skirts to drop off. And if you are watching the video version of this podcast, which is not always the case, but if you are, it's on Spotify. Just open the same episode on Spotify, or I'll be putting a version on YouTube on my Live Unapologetically YouTube channel. But you'll be able to see a picture of these skirts. If you're on YouTube, you might not be able to see that. Yeah, they're explicit, but I remember dropping those skirts off and it was a different girl at the front than normal. And I had to be like, are you okay seeing this kind of content? Like, are you okay? Because like, I don't need someone to like refuse my business of hemming my skirt because they didn't like the graphic on it. So like, I don't care if you're I'll just take my business somewhere else. But the deep down is I actually do care. Like no one really wants to get rejected. And like, I don't want to be like not allowed to get my skirts hemmed because I'm too much of a very, blatant sex positive figure. So you can see I run up with issues all the time in mainstream society, whether it's a seamstress, whether it's a lawyer, whether it's an accountant. I had to make sure my accountant was comfortable with the fact that I make my income from OnlyFans and YouTube and all that, because I'm like, look, man, like this is how it is. Like I need someone who's going to give me good, accounting advice based on those facts. So it's an interesting life, I got to say. So I'm about to get ready. I have been using ChatGPT. It's literally like my best friend in life that helps me navigate things I don't know. I've been using it for tech support when I was building my website, and I had to use a WooCommerce plugin to do the financial stuff. But then it would crash. Like you would add something to cart, and then there would be a bunch of code on the screen instead of a cart. And it took me hours, but I had ChatGPT. I was sending screenshots. It was helping me troubleshoot. And so I had it craft me a few questions that I'm supposed to be asking the lawyer in this meeting. So I don't feel like as unprepared as I could be, but I'm nervous. I'm nervous because today is a big day for my business, because as soon as I end this call, I'm going to be incorporating a business, whether it's federal, provincial, we shall see. And then going about trying to get those bank accounts set up and then, get ready to launch. So, oh my God, it's been fun. And my least favorite part of the online course stuff is the proofreading. I have to proofread the subtitles for all the videos. Now, whenever if you've seen my if you have seen my Toronto Unicorn YouTube content, you have seen the butcher job of subtitles that YouTube naturally gives me. Okay, apparently I'm China Unicorn instead of Toronto Unicorn, or I'm Terra Unicorn instead of Toronto Unicorn. They never get my name right, and half the words that I say are butchered. Like in one of my video modules, I talk about having an erotic experience, and it wrote it as a neurotic. So neurotic instead of erotic. And I was like, that's a big spelling mistake. So things like that. And so one of my least favorite things to do in the world is read books. Like I do not like to physically read. I would rather have an audiobook or or frankly, somebody just like show me the information. So I don't know if it's whatever type of brain I have, but I certainly, even as a kid, did not like reading. I even always remember when the cartoons came. I don't know if you had this experience, but when the Saturday paper came in the cartoon section, I remember I would only look at the graphics, even if there were word bubbles where there was supposed to be like narration of some sort of joke. I never read the bubbles. I was too like, I would call it like lazy because I didn't want to, but it's because I don't enjoy the process of reading. Like apparently some people when they read, they have this like vivid experience in their brain of seeing, what the words are showing them. For me, it's like word, 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 word. Just read, 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 read. Like it's just not the same experience. And so it's funny because now as an adult content creator, the only part of my business right now where I'm creating visual content with transcripts, the only part I hate is reading the transcripts. So if I ever write a book, I will read it. Like I will write it, of course, but also read it. But I haven't read like anyone else's books really about the lifestyle. I mean, like it's, I know that like the ethical slut, I even own the book, The Ethical Slut, but I think I read like a couple pages, and not even because it's not a great book. It is a good book. It's just, I don't want to sit down and read anything. I don't even know how I got to university, frankly. So I have been having some of my friends do some beta testing for my new courses. I also invited two single male fans of mine who I know in real life as well, because, for example, one of them showed up to my social meetups when I would put on YouTube, like, hey, I'm going to be at this club on this day. One of them showed up a couple times. And so we kind of like really stayed in touch. I think I consider him more of a friend than just a fan. And so he was invited, as well as another male friend that I know in the lifestyle, in person and online. And I really value their feedback because they're men, right? I made a course from Toronto Unicorn for single men called The Single Men Survival Guide to Sex Clubs, From Rejected to Respected. And I did my best to cover the content. But instead of just getting my other female friends to like look over the course from a male's perspective, I was like, let's find out what men think. And sure enough, I got some great feedback about some topic areas that I needed to cover in addition to what I already did. One of them was, what is the etiquette for places like a glory hole or a dungeon? I hadn't even included that. So I'm like, yeah, that's genius. So after I hang up the call today, that's what I'm going to be making. So these courses are like a love product, I would say, of mine. Because I'm Canadian, you might appreciate this analogy, but what I feel like I am doing with this course or these courses is, as a maple tree, I feel like I am getting tapped of all my maple syrup, and I'm putting it in these little courses. The other course I've made is called Threesomes 101, From Fantasy to Reality, a unicorn's guide for couples. And so I feel like I am withdrawing my maple syrup as a maple tree and packaging it for, sustainable and scalable growth. Like people can download these courses, 10 years from now, hopefully, right? And so I feel like for me, this is where I am withdrawing my contribution, and then leaving it there, right? It doesn't really matter if and when I decide to do anything different in the future. At least I've left my mark here. And so it's kind of surreal to feel like I'm in the middle of documenting my legacy, especially in the lifestyle and swinger world. I had a hard time making the transition as a single woman into the lifestyle, and I wish I didn't, because it was freeing. It made me want to live a life of like that ignited spark again, and like to follow your passion and to feel almost younger inside. And so why didn't I find this 10 years earlier? Why didn't I feel ready back then? And so if there's anything I can do to help people feel more ready and to know what they're getting into and take away that, that scariness of something unfamiliar, then I'm comfortable with a legacy like that. The other reason I am doing these courses, frankly, is because YouTube cut off my monetization a while ago. I did make some money on YouTube when I got started in this world, but my content is simply too sexual. I say fuck too many times, and I talk about sex basically every video. And so I won't be getting, the typical ads there. Same with my podcast. I got cut off of monetization of standard ads on my podcast. And so I'm left to either just keep promoting my fan page, or have my own business that I can use my existing social media networks, YouTube, podcasts. I mean, I've got 6 podcasts for Christ's sakes. Now I'll have a business that I think is actually adding value. And instead of putting ads on my content for someone else's business, I can now put ads in front of my content for my own business. So this is why I'm transitioning into a businesswoman more than just a influencer. And it's funny, I never actually wanted to be an influencer. I was a girl who just like told my story online and found people found it relatable, and so I kept talking about life and other stories and advice and things like that. So I never wanted to be an influencer. I wanted to, I wanted to help people. I wanted to use my experience for something good. But I've gotten comfortable with the word influencer because people use it about me. But yeah, it's just funny how things change. But yeah, 18 million views later, I guess you could say I'm an influencer. So anyways, it's almost time for my meeting. So I'm going to get going. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about my little life and, the little pieces that go into being an influencer, as I said, the business side, the lawyers. The next step after I talk to a lawyer is I have to talk to an accountant and help set up the financial structure. So it's busy, it's exciting. I hope you check out my courses. I will be offering discounts, by the way, if you want to sign up in advance. There is a wait list for my courses, as well as an email newsletter for Toronto Unicorn that you can sign up for. The link is in the description of this podcast. It's also on my website, TorontoUnicorn.com. And anybody who's on my email list will be getting a coupon to try out one of the courses that I'll be offering at a significant discount. So there's going to be some excitement when I roll it out, and I would be looking for some great fans and supporters of my content to give it a try. So I'll be putting the links in the description, but spoiler alert, the new website is going to be Level Up with TorontoUnicorn.com. I even have a new logo of the Toronto Unicorn cartoon character sitting on a Level Up button instead of a YouTube button. So shit's about to get real, and I appreciate you being here. All right, my fan page link is in the description as well. Hopefully I'll be able to chat with some of you there.